If you will please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Tripp, you and Dr. Tripp, please have gone to do attendance tonight.
Yes, Mr. Foster has an excused absence. Mr. Burgess.
Here.
Mrs. Foster.
Here.
Mr. Frazier.
Here.
Mr. Nealon.
Here.
Mr. Wentworth.
Here.
Ms. Aruda.
Here.
And Ms. Atherton down.
Hi.
Okay, thank you. Now is the time for public participation. If anybody would like to address the board here that's here this evening, please step up to the podium. If you, excuse me, would like to email in for public comment, that would be at publiccomment@rsu25.org, or you can phone in for public comment at 307-8099. Is there anybody here this evening that would like to address the board? Okay. Seeing no one, we will pass on. Approval of the minutes. Trust everybody's had a chance to read through the minutes. Is there any adjustments that need to be made?
You didn't catch any mistakes this?
I don't know why
I move that we accept the minutes on January 20th, 2026.
Second.
First and a second. All those in favor? Thank you. Communications and correspondence.
I have none.
Have none. Superintendent's report.
So you have my report. I guess the one thing I did mention there, but I will highlight it, is the cohort 3 that we've provided a lot of information to folks about providing FAPE. Just a reminder, in terms of providing FAPE, that is providing special education services to our 3 and 4 year olds. We brought that concept to joining cohort 3 to the curriculum committee. We've talked about it here at the school board meetings. We had to decide before February 2nd. I told you, unless anything come up really big, that's why we should do this. We were gonna go ahead and submit our application to do so. We did. We've been accepted into cohort 3, and we've already begun planning for that. So I think it's twofold. That has some really good things. Again, I think it's the right thing for students. We were gonna have to do it anyways the year after. We'll kind of get the head start on it. It's not a big push for us in terms of we have no infrastructure stuff that we really have to take care of. I mean, we already have the classroom set up at the Jewett School. There's a few things that we may have to do in terms of related services, speech, OT. And right now, we're looking at, I think it was 4 students. Nicole, was that right?
I think
Was the number that we have. Now that doesn't tell us the 3-year-olds. That's only gonna be our 4-year-olds for next year, so we won't know our 3-year-old numbers. But remember that this is all reimbursable money to the states. And it does provide us a little bit of financial incentive besides the fact that we will get that reimbursement for it. But also anything that we are currently doing, so like we can use some of our, if there's a teacher that's gonna be taking those case management on, we can charge off some of those salary and benefits, a small percentage up to the state to manage those students. So it will actually help us on our local budget a little bit, so there is some financial incentive there that will help us out as well. I mean, it's pretty small. Really, the big thing is we'll be helping our students be school ready and getting them the appropriate services that they need. That they're having a hard time receiving right now through the CDS route. So we feel like we're in really good shape, unless you guys have any questions about that.
Any questions? Okay, we'll move on. Board Chair's report. I would like to say, last Friday I was invited by Mr. Boothby. He is a ambassador of the BAR program. He's doing some work for them, building assets, reducing risk. It's a program we instituted here back in 2010-11.
It's not a program.
What's that?
It's a philosophy, right? Isn't that what I learned?
Yes.
What is it?
Yeah, yes.
It's something, it's not a program. I just learned that.
They changed.
And what it was.
Anyways, I was invited to testify in front of the Joint Appropriations and Educational Board in Augusta.
Cool.
There's right now 34 or 37 schools within the state that have started
had received a grant from the state from ESSER monies in the past year or two ago. They're in their second and third year of implementation, and the state is no longer going to fund that, as it has to come out of the state budget now and not the ESSER funds. So it testified in just basically in support of the BAR program and what it's done for here at our school. And the statistics that were presented there are overwhelming, that BAR schools outperform other schools in the state of Maine overall. Better graduation rates, less dropout rates, all the other academics that go along with it. But it was an interesting day in Augusta. Don't know if I'd want to do that all the time, but listened to a lot of testimony. The community colleges reported out about the free college program for in-state students and some reductions, not necessarily reductions, but students will be required to pay more fees. And they're closing some loopholes that were allowing some out-of-state students to take advantage of it as well, based on their residency requirements. And but it was a very interesting day. Heard a lot from MEA was there concerning teacher pay. A lot of testimony around that. But at the end of the day, I was very happy that I didn't have to follow the 8-year-old that testified in favor of the BAR program. She did a wonderful job in her contrast of why she should be a bee and not a fly, because bees are attracted to flowers and flies are attracted to other things. Told her mom was very happy that I got to go before them. But overall, a good day spent down there. It's interesting to see how the wheels turn in there and how they talk about education here in Maine. So that would be my report. Committee reports, curriculum committee.
All right, so we met earlier in the month, as we do. We did get some updates from Jen for Aspire. She talked about the World Read Aloud Day, which had already happened, and then we reviewed the Step Up Night, and they had an upcoming trip to Thomas College, which has probably already happened now. And then we did the rest of the time going over our old strategic plan from 2017. Is that when it was? And so we're starting to look at that and try to figure out where we want to bring this revised version. And so it was very interesting. We went like a half hour over. I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
People were begging to go home. That never happened.
We're gonna be well behind, I would say. Our projected timeline for this strategic plan that Christina told me was very optimistic when I put it out there to begin with. But it's fine. I think the discussion that we had was very rich. It's given us a chance to, I think, celebrate a lot of the great things that have happened in the district since 2017.
It was great attendance to curriculum.
Yeah, it was. But also some great talking points about where we want to go. So I think it's worth, if we don't finish this to midsummer, end of summer, that's not a bad thing. I think the process is gonna be as important, if not more important, than the product that's gonna come from this. So our plan is to continue to use the curriculum committee as kind of our steering committee. That way we're not pulling from, it's just tough to get people together. And it's a good group, and we had really great conversation.
Yeah, I think it was a good meeting, and that's really all we did. We didn't have a lot on curriculum at the moment, so we spent the majority of the time there.
Good, thank you. Finance committee.
So we met before the meeting and discussed budget actual. We are on pace across the board in all the cost centers. Transportation is ahead of schedule a little bit, but we know that we had that engine problem with one of the buses where the engine seized up and we had to replace it, which was an unexpected cost. But we are going to we're going to overrun a line inside of our transportation cost center, but we're going to be well under another cost center. So we'll be able to transfer some funds at the end of the school year, and we'll be able to cover that. And then we reviewed food service, and food service is still in the black, which is great, like it never is at this point. So the adjustments that we have made are really paying off. And again, we're not ready to say, hey, this is where we're gonna be forever moving forward, but we're cautiously optimistic of, the stuff that we're doing is gonna continue to be effective.
With transportation, if we ordered those, the swing bars for the things, Is that affecting the transportation budget or is that coming from somewhere else?
It's for the transportation budget, but it's, they were not that expensive. I said not expensive, it's just under $800 and we installed them ourselves. So we just factored into our supply line that we
Okay.
have.
Okay, good.
So-
I didn't know if that would negatively skew things, but.
I mean, we only had to get 5 anyways, so we weren't looking at a huge amount of money and they're all on at this point, so.
Great. Oh, wonderful, good.
It,
And that was 5 amongst everybody, wasn't it?
no, that was 5 for us.
5, okay.
And then all the different school districts, they even had some. I said we might actually have one more that needs to go on because one of our buses is an international and the brackets were out of stock to fix it on there, so we're trying to. We are paying attention to legislation though, cause there is a bill that's gonna mandate the swing bars, which is fine, will be, but there are also the anti-pinch sensors that go on the doors.
Yes.
Which we do not have on any of our.
That was discussed when I was in Augusta the other day, that was part of that conversation along with, some the other policy changes.
Right, so right now in the governor's supplemental budget, that hasn't been approved yet, there is money that is earmarked and designated for that part. We're just kind of watching to see, where this goes. Originally, it was an emergency bill. The issue with an emergency bill is once it's passed, it goes into effect immediately, as opposed to the 90 days that you typically get for bills. And our pushback is, even with the swing arms, we think it's a great thing. We were proactively, we're gonna be ahead of the game. But if you say everybody has to have those effective immediately, matter of getting them installed, I mean, it just, there's a process with that, and the same thing with the anti-pinch sensors. And the cost that's gonna go along with it, we're gonna be monitoring, so.
Any other questions for Dr. Tripp?
No.
Policy committee, we are currently on hiatus due to negotiations and budget season. We'll meet if necessary going forward through that time. Facilities and grounds.
Yeah, so we met last week, not last Thursday, we met Thursday, February 12th. Dave updated us on the new window installation in the science wing of the high school. The window, the final window was installed with no problems, and that project is now finalized. The plow truck purchasing process was discussed, and it was determined that dropping to a 3/4 ton truck from a 1-ton truck would be fine if a 1-ton truck could not be available. The cost reduction would be around $5,000. Also, we were focused on just Chevy trucks before, but now, after talking to the garage crew, we can purchase 4 trucks as well, and the bidding process is upcoming. Dave stated that the upcoming project priority will be determined by the FY27 budget when that's finalized. And the BIM started updating the maintenance strategic report back in December. That's about it.
Okay. Any questions around facilities? Okay. HCTC.
Okay, we did not meet, but next month Bill Tracy will have a budget for us to look at. And I don't know, has he sent you anything yet? Nothing.
I've been asking Katie and I.
Because Katie asked me the other day, she said, if they had anything yet, I said, no. But we should have one to look at, but that's not until March 12th. We don't know about.
I know that they have some, as you reported last time, like some upgrades to bathrooms and facility infrastructure, that we presented to a budget and then the committee will decide whether it's feasible or not.
Moving on, old business, there is none. New business, resignations and retirements.
Yeah, so, as I said in my report, we have, 4 retirements and 1 resignation. The 4 retirements are all longtime employees, stars through 25, starting with our high school employees, Mike Cowing, Ginny White, and Liz Townsend, have been with us for all of them over 20 plus years, or 25 plus years, and have just been phenomenal employees. And, you know, I can speak to them as a young teacher coming in here and being able to look up to them as people just that understand school. So it was really great working along with them, and there's gonna be a whole year in this building from them next year. We obviously wish them the best of luck, but certainly we are gonna miss them. And same thing with Gene King, who's been a long time at Tech for us, at Bucksport Middle School. And again, just the number of students that she's impacted positively over the years. So all four of them are really big losses, but at the same time, we get it. They need to go on and have life beyond RSU 25. So we thank all of them. And then Cameron Mears did a fantastic job with us as a custodian. We knew that this was not gonna be she was gonna come and help us out for a long time, and she was actively looking for other positions when we hired her. So we appreciate the time that she spent with us.
I'll look for a motion to accept the resignations.
I move that we accept the resignation and the retirements with great regret. Some great people
Second.
leaving.
Have a first and a second. Any questions, comments, concerns around the nominations? All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, nominations.
So we have, for nominations, just all of our coaches for the spring sports, and these are all familiar names.
Do we have a JV baseball program?
We do,
I don't see a JV coach.
because we do not have a JV coach yet.
Okay.
So I can't bring a nomination.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought that might be.
We have it's advertised,
Okay.
but, we do not have any, we haven't hired anybody, so,
Okay.
just be prepared to, one of you will be asked to sit in on an interview hopefully pretty soon, so we
How
can.
many times?
Yeah. So for BMS softball, we have Megan Simpson and Buzz Simpson as a volunteer. Baseball, Anthony Hamlin, head coach, Rob Wadley as a volunteer. Track, Maddie Hamlin, head coach, Olivia West as assistant coach. And at Bucksboro High School, for baseball, we have Josh Jackson, varsity head coach, Adam Sheehan volunteer, Ty Iverson volunteer, Aidan McGuire volunteer. Softball, Rich Rotella, varsity head coach, Lester Cowan, JV head coach, Ashley McGuire and Alyssa McGuire, both volunteers, and Jan Simpson, volunteer. And then for track, we have Matt Morrison, head coach, Lindsey Gordon, assistant coach, and we still have one vacant assistant coach for outdoor track as well,
Okay.
that we have advertised for.
Well, I make a motion that we accept all of the nominations as a block.
Second.
First and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? None. Thank you. First reading of policy, we have none. Second reading of policy, there is none. Consideration for a staff member's request for time off without pay.
So you have a letter in your packet. We have an employee that is requesting time off, is attending a wedding. I believe this one is out of state. Will be traveling, needs the 5 days prior to April vacation, just based on when the timing of the wedding is. Does have some EPL time that will take up most of that time. And then the second week is April vacation, so it looks like it's a long ask, but it's really just the 5 days before April vacation and 1 day after, just based on travel. So there will be a 2 to 3 day gap between what they have for earned paid leave time off and what's not covered by that. So just, we need board approval for the employee to be able to take that off without pay.
And we do this quite often.
We do this pretty regularly, especially for employees in good standing, and as long as there's not a major impact.
And there's no concern from the
No,
administration?
Christina approved it and said that we are good to go, so I recommend that we pass it.
Well, I move that we grant the request for leave without pay.
Second.
First and a second. Questions, concerns, comments around the, okay, all those in favor? Okay, thank you. Discussion around proposal to move the first grade from Miles Lane School to Jewett in the 26-27 school year.
So, and I'll let Christina speak to this here some, and we're not going to, we don't have a big presentation for you, because I feel like we've been talking about this throughout the course of the year in terms of what our plan is and ideas are. Again, Christina, Nicole, and Tara all have really talked about this for a couple of years now in terms of potentially making this move of bringing first grade down. One, the biggest reason is really we're bursting at the seams at the Miles Lane School. We really need space there. And with the decreased sizes that we've seen in kindergarten over the past couple of years, we've gone from 5 kindergarten classrooms down to 3. We have the space, and again, Christina will do a much better job of kind of going through all the pros. I think you've heard the majority of them, but bringing more peers down to our kindergartners of the same age down there, it really just makes a lot of sense in a number of ways. And the number of cons were very minimal. So I guess what I will just speak to is that Christina and Nicole and Tara have done a really nice job at talking to their staff about this. We've already had 3 volunteers that said that they would move from the Miles Lane School down to the Jewish school, so there would not have to be any involuntary transfers along those lines, which is always helpful.
3 first grades?
3 first grades, because there's 3 kindergartens right now. So remember, this would mean that kindergartners basically would just stay there for another year, so they're not going to the Miles Lane School, then coming back down to the Jewish school and going back. So from that standpoint, it makes it pretty easy. There are a couple of questions that people have, that Christina brought it to her leadership team and staff meeting. And they had a lot of the same questions that we knew that they were gonna have in terms of what do the structures look like? Are there still gonna be looping? Is there still gonna be multi-age? Are there gonna be straight grades? And they've talked to a lot of it. I'll say that the staff is pretty well split in terms of what they would like to see. So, administration will end up making that decision and working through that process with them. We didn't come to you with a set plan because we're still in the process of hiring a Miles Lane School principal. We have advertised that both internally and externally. Obviously, when we get that person on board, we'd like to have them be part of that process as well, so that they have some input. We are gonna make the decision, so it will be put in place for them, but it'd be great if they can at least be part of those discussions so they know what's going on. But our goal is to have that all wrapped up by end of March, beginning of April, so that teachers can plan and prep. They'll know what grades they're gonna be teaching, they'll know if they're moving classrooms within their own buildings. And then I'll let Chris say, but our recommendation is that we do make this move. And we just want to take the time to answer any questions that you may have. Christina, anything on this that you want to add?
I think you captured it all. I would just say, elementary is my baby, right? That's my passion. So I think that it's exciting as your curriculum director and currently as one of your principals to think about a pre-K to 1 cohort of students playing and learning together, but also as a cohort of educators supporting and learning from one another. I do think that that's something, in my opinion, that was missing. So when I got here, first grade was down there. We had a K and a 1. We had 5 of each actually down there. There were 10. And we moved half of them up during my first year, and then the other half after that. And so it's just been interesting. But I think that what was missing when we did that was the fact that it almost felt like that kindergarten team, students and staff, were kind of their own island. And that's okay, but if it doesn't have to be that way, how wonderful to have what I would consider an early learning environment, pre-K to 1. There's space there. There's not space at Miles Lane. I don't know, I have at least one parent here, but when we say it's bursting at the seams, it just feels like it is because we have a lot of kids and a lot of staff. And I think that changes in our needs, right, and our kids' needs over the years have led to, because I've been there for 14 years or whatever, I know that we've had more kids in that building than we do right now, but our needs have changed, and our kids' needs have changed, and that requires a different amount of space, quite frankly, and different amount of adults. And so, right now, if you were to come there and we needed to hold a meeting of some sort, we have to kick somebody out of there. So I'm kicked out of my office all the time. Not a big deal, but I am. So that's just the way it is. We're counseling in there, we're having IEPs, whatever we need to do. So I just think this makes a lot of sense. And like Josh and I were talking, really, aside from some teachers have to move their stuff and we'll make sure that they have time and, help. David's willing to have his crew's help. There really aren't any cons, in my opinion. What we'd like to do is just kind of move forward with this being the plan with your support so that we can share, Nicole and I can share that with our families. It really doesn't affect Miles Lane families unless they have kids that do it, but we want to share that and just say, hey, heads up for next year, Miles Lane will be a 2 through 4 building with your support, and Jewett would be pre-K to 1. So happy to answer any questions.
Just for my own knowledge, why did we, if they were already there, why did we move them?
Yeah, so it was the opposite.
So we were running out of room in Jewett at one point, okay.
Yeah, and what was happening is we had a lot of community involvement at the Jewett School that needed spaces, and that was kind of a joint building, and we talked to the town, and they're fine with this as well. But at the time, we had Bucksport's Healthy Bay, we had, there were just a number of organizations that had office spaces there, so it was just busy. It was a lot. And at the time, I don't even remember why we moved half of the first grade. I don't know why we did that. It was a little weird. We did, oh, that's right.
We had really big-
hundreds. We had a couple
yeah.
hundred.
We had some really, really big classes, because when I came,
Yeah,
Miles Lane was K.
yes,
and-
yes, and.
And then fourth grade, and fifth grade, we down at the Joyce was
Yeah.
fifth grade. So, yeah, and then, yeah, the numbers changed.
Changes in numbers. I know that as a former kindergarten, second grade teacher, I would be excited about this because it gives you options that you didn't have, like the looping, the multi-age. You wouldn't have had that with just K and 1 there. And it's gonna offer more with K1 there, so.
Nicole and I have talked too about, like the opportunities for flexible grouping, right? So like if we're trying to meet kids' needs, there are times when you have kids that just need a little something more, and it's hard for us to provide that right now. We do as best we can, but kindergarten's down there by themselves, so we don't have a whole lot of options. So that's just one example of how it does open up some possibilities.
This is actually gonna allow us to be a little more efficient too. One of the struggles of having split buildings is specifically in the special education world is that we don't really need a full-time special education teacher at Jewett right now because the numbers don't really dictate that. So they spend half their day there and then they go up to the Miles Lane School and they spend the other half of the day there. But then if you have a student that needs some help, they just do a lot of travel. Same thing with ed techs. We don't, by moving another grade level down, it's gonna be easier for us to dedicate staff there and them have the full caseloads working, especially with us bringing in the 3 and 4 year old cohort 3 FAPE provisions next year. So we just feel like we're gonna have we're gonna be able to use our staff pretty effectively and efficiently down there as well.
Is this gonna cause any extra work for the phys ed teacher? Because there'll be, more classes down there, but
There already,
is less.
we'll just, the other part of the reason we want to just kind of get the board's approval so we can start to go ahead is there's a lot of these logistical stuff where you're not gonna have a unified arts teacher, phys ed, music, start at Miles Lane, go to Jewett, come back to Miles Lane, right? Like, so we're gonna have to do a lot of our schedules so that when they're down at the Jewett school, they're gonna be down there for their 2 periods for both kindergarten, first grade, then go back to Miles Lane. And we just have to do some planning, but we're not gonna do all that planning if there's not the support to do this, so.
Sounds good.
Any other questions or concerns? Would you like a motion?
I think if we could just have a formal support, even if just consensus, not necessarily motion, but if we could just get consensus that.
Consensus for
Oh,
the
yeah.
administration to keep looking at the
Yeah.
school?
I was hoping we could say, I move to move.
That's-
I move to move first
Well,
grade.
we can't miss that opportunity.
Right, so I move to move first grade.
No, it's good that I can put in the notes, in the minutes of that there was consensus, unanimous consensus, whatever, I'll word
Yeah.
that to make this move.
So it makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
If everybody's okay with this, I'd like to move, that we move to calendar, prior to our executive session, so we can get that taken care of before we have to ask people to leave. Curriculum committee, March 5th at 6 o'clock. Policy committee is, as I said earlier, on hiatus. Finance committee will be March 17th, here at the library at 5:30, prior to our board meeting at 6 o'clock that evening. Facilities committee, March 12th at 4 o'clock at central office. And budget workshops, we need to do some work on those.
So in the finance committee, we talked about a week from today to do the first budget workshop, that Tuesday. And that first one is just where I'll be presenting the first draft. It's a lot of you folks listening to me and Katie, just really kind of presenting all of our revenues, all of our expenses, just that first overlook at the cost centers. We don't get into the nitty gritty in terms of individual lines, but basically we kind of hit you like, this is what. We've been doing those at the central office last year. We can do them here, it doesn't really matter to me either way. Honestly, I don't remember why we switched them to the central office last year.
Because it was just easier.
Yeah, there was something here the first time and then we decided that we liked the smaller setting.
It's just easier.
I can do either one, I
Just as long as you tell us.
Let me know.
Okay.
Is it,
I mean, I won't be here, so.
Why don't we plan on the central office?
Okay.
Just because that will allow us, typically we're working on the budget stuff, changes that we can move there to it.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock, okay for people?
No, but we
You're
are
not
wrong.
gonna,
Yeah.
And that was Tuesday, March 3rd?
Tuesday, March 3rd, yes, week from today.
I won't be here.
You won't be there?
I'm gonna be in Providence.
You'll be in Providence, okay.
Tuesdays are usually negotiations though, and we still.
They were
need some-
Mondays there for a
Thursday.
while, so after, well, after the school meeting, the three of us will get together to find a time with.
Okay, that fits within the schedule, okay.
Correct, yeah. Because I'd like to see if maybe we can get something this week if possible.
So
Yeah.
no corned beef dinner for St. Patrick's Day this year at the Coach House for me.
Is that the,
We're meeting on St. Patrick's Day.
I mean, we can have like a farm.
March 17th?
is that St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah.
Just wait.
That's, I don't go out drinking, I just like to have some corned beef.
Yeah, me too.
But-
Well, we'll all wear green.
I'll have to,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to adjust and maybe get a few lunch.
Cabbage.
So at that budget workshop, I know, Danny, if you can't make it, that's fine, I can send you the presentation.
Okay,
And,
so the plan for it.
and then I can answer any questions that you have.
Okay.
But I think it's important to get this first one, really, as you know, and I've kind of filled you in, we're really looking at, our first draft is very, very reasonable. We were very happy, the administrators did a really great job of being frugal, and presenting a very, ethical budget to us. We are facing a big revenue loss. And again, I've talked to most of you about this, but when we got our 279, we were receiving $405,000 less of state subsidy than we did the previous year. So, again, when you take a look at that, we're just under $500,000 behind to start with. So even with a small increase in terms of budget to budget, our impact to our local communities is gonna be higher because of that lack of revenue. So we have put together the first budget that, which you would have got had we come across flat in our revenues. And so we're gonna let you see what that looks like. Again, typically you're used to us giving you, all right, it was a 5% increase budgeted budget for draft one, or last year was a 7.1% increase. And then we whittled that down. This time it's, the budget we're giving you is pretty low to start with. We're still gonna have to do some big whittling down, because of the local impact, because of the loss of revenue. And it's just something that we are going to have to, we're gonna present it to you. We'll offer you some opportunities that we think that we can, bring that first draft down, where we would recommend making cuts. And obviously, our goal, whenever we do this, is to do so that we're not impacting student learning, or as, we know there's always gonna be an impact, but as little as possible. And obviously, we wanna retain staff through that process as well. So we will make a recommendation to you. I think it's important that we can do this next Tuesday, because we need to know where you want us to go from there. Do we need to go deeper? Do we go too deep? We need that direction from the board so that we can have more internal discussions. Because April will be here before you know it, right? I mean, this comes fast, so hopefully. Again, they're not fun discussions, but we've kind of talked about this, like we knew that there was these challenging budget cycles ahead of us, and it's here, so
Yeah, Josh, I'll just come see you the next day.
that's fine. Yep, we can set up a time where.
I'm putting it in my calendar at 1:30.
Bless you. Is there any other calendar items that we need to be aware of? Okay. Hearing none, I get to the right page. There we go. Look for a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to MRSA Title I, Section 405, 6D for discussions relative to discussion of labor contracts.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second. All those in favor? That's unanimous.
So good.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Go on, 6:30.
Okay, we're back from executive session. I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Have a good evening, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good job.
I know, right?
Excellent. Have a good night, everybody.